Hey YouTube, how's it going? Red Baron flying at you with yet another weekly deck breakdown. This week, we have STRATOTERROR brought to you by Pokechef from the beta test server. But before we get into it, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already and want to see more similar content. And remember, if you too want your deck to be highlighted in my weekly videos, go ahead and either DM me directly or comment down below. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so here we have Pokechef's deck, and immediately I like the balance of the deck. From first sight, I think he has about 15 Elestrals, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Invokes, 2 Divine Runes, and then the rest being counter runes. So, that being said, let's go straight into the Elestrals and see what he has cooking. So, as the name of the deck suggests, he's running both Stratomoth and Pantera, which is really cool, being able to run both the main 3-cost wind Elestrals and to be able to control your opponent's back row when the meta is really counter rune heavy currently. So, as you can see, he starts off with 3 Pegasts. 3 Pegasts is good. I personally would probably go down to 2. You don't want to be drawing these too much because they can clutter up your hand, and they themselves can't do much besides getting rid of a back row. You have to play. You're playing this most of the time in defense, and you can search it out as often as you like with Aeolus. So personally, I think going down to 2 Pegasus would be plenty here. Now, I see he has the typical Nimbug Stratomoth package. He starts off with 3 Nimbugs, expend a wind to special summon this Nimbug to Circoon from your hand or deck. So this means turn 1, if he plays Nimbug, he can automatically go into Circoon. And if your opponent doesn't have either Earthquake or resting on your laurels, they'll have to answer with a turn 3 Stratomoth. Here are the Circoons that I mentioned before. The normal staple, it's a 1/6. Being a 6 defense makes it really hard to get over. And again, if your opponent doesn't have a response to it, they're going to be in a bit of a trouble. Then you have one of the main Elestrals, Stratomoth here. It's a 3-cost, 9/5, but it gets 1 attack for each Nimbug and Circoon on your field and in your underworld. So immediately, when you get this whole combo off, it should automatically be a +2 attack. It should come in as an 11 attack, 5 defense. Not only that, you can expend 1 wind to blow back all your opponent's back row. And that is really good when we're dealing with a very heavy back row meta. If you can get this out and constantly make sure your opponent can't play any protection, he should be able to get a secure win. Now he has a tiny Pantera package here, running 2 Hydrakes. Their Hydrakes are 4/1, cost of 1, and when this is destroyed by battle, you can summon the Twindra. Twindra being this card right here, 5/4. It itself doesn't really have a really major effect, except for that when this also is destroyed by battle, you can summon your Pantera from your hand or deck. And here's Pantera. It also has on destruction effect when it's destroyed. It comes in at 15/8, and it has, when this card is destroyed by battle, or excuse me, it's the opposite. It's destroyed by a card effect. You can special summon as many Hydrakes and Twindras from your hand or deck as possible. So, looking at this immediately, he's not making as much good use of Pantera as you'd like, because if you go through the whole rotation, you get your Hydrake out, gets destroyed, gets Twindra out, that gets destroyed, and then you get Pantera. If Pantera gets destroyed, that means he's only going to be able to summon only 1 Hydrake. So that's kind of an issue. What he could do is technically, I guess, I'm not sure if you actually really need Stratomoth, or he could technically go down. Stratomoth could technically, this whole engine could go down to 1. He could run, like, take rid of 1 Nimbug, 1 Circoon, 1 Stratomoth, and then put it in, or excuse me, just take off 1 Nimbug or Circoon. Or get rid of 1 Nimbug and 1 Stratomoth, and then you could go into get another Hydrake and another Twindra. And then therefore when Pantera dies, and then you'll be able to get not only 2 Hydrakes, but then a Twindra. So this makes Pantera a lot stronger. But currently, Pantera doesn't really do much for the deck besides being a 15 attack beater. Next, he has the Sorlets. Sorlets 5/1, probably one of the most key cards in Wind. Expend a Wind to change the position of any Elestral that's not Wind Enchanted. If you're able to, instead of this 3 Pigas, bring this down to 2 and make this a 3. That'd be very strong. He also has Drataya in here. And before I get into Drataya, well, I already took a look at his invokes. He does have Ambrosia. So he puts Drataya here on the off chance that he draws Ambrosia, which is a good combo. I mean, Drataya is fairly big enough. Defense. It has 4 defense, and then whenever you play Ambrosia, you're able to draw 2, which is great. But again, you have to manually draw into both these cards. Normally, you would play Drataya in a Fruits deck where you can search it out with like Rummagem or something like that, where it's a lot easier to hit the Drataya, hit the Ambrosia combo. This is very interesting how he puts this in here. It's very good. Though I'm not sure how often he'll be able to get that combo off. If he feels like this isn't enough, or he's like, Drataya is pretty dead most of the times, you could easily change this out for Aramare. Aramare is a 4 attack, 5 defense Wind Elestral, and it is such insane stats. You play it as defense, and then you go from there, and that can help set up for Twindra, or possibly in the future manually go into a Pantera or a Stratomoth. So those are all of his Elestrals. Let's go into his Invokes and Divine Runes and see what he has. Alright, so these are his Invokes. He has Ambrosia at 3, which is good. He tries to use that with Drataya. He has Earthquake at 2, which is also good. Earthquake is main decked in most decks right now because it's really strong. Just target and destroy any Elestral. It's great. And then he also has, instead of Nectar of the Gods, he has Drops of Leaves here. Reveal any number of cards from your hand, put them back into your deck, and draw that many +1. This is a good card for most of the times if you're bricking. So if he draws like the Stratomoth and the Pantera really early, and they're just cluttering up his hand, he can send them back with Drops of Leaf, and then draw a brand new hand or draw more cards. Though you do have the chance of hitting, redrawing them, and it's definitely better than just keeping them in your hand. He also has Aeolus here. The best toolbox Divine Rune we have currently, and it belongs to Wind. You can actually enchant this up to 4 winds, unlike the other Divine Runes where you can only enchant up to 3. And then you can disenchant 2 winds to get any Wind Elestral from your deck to your hand, which is really good. It'll be able to get that Hydrakes, get those Sorlet Answers, get the Pegusts if he needs to deal with a back row. Very good. If possible, if at all possible, this should be at 3 at all times because it's just too good not to be. Okay, so let's see what he has for a back row. Okay, so as you see, it's very staple stuff. He has 3 Gorgons, which is good, 3 PTAs, 2 Shield of Achilles, 3 Tsunamis, and 2 Helios Chariots. Now, what I will say is I don't think Helios Chariot actually belongs in this deck. Why? Because you already have enough back row destruction with the Pegusts. You have enough control enough as it is, so you shouldn't really need Helios Chariot. Now, what you could do is change it out for Ultra the Stars. That would be a lot more versatile card. Not only will it kind of sort of do what Helios does, it'll do it better because you can actually use Ultra the Stars with a combination of Pegast to destroy a back row and also put something to defense mode. Really good card, but everything else looks really good. Gorgon's Gaze is at 3, PTA at 3, Shield of Achilles is at 2, Tsunami is also at 3. Now, overall, I think this deck, it shows potential, except for win with Stratomoth. If you're able to get Stratomoth out really early, you can actually dominate the game. Just hope your opponent doesn't draw into that early EQ, and then you're fine. You'll have Stratomoth, you just keep on blowing back their back row every single turn, just expend 1 to blow it back, and then you just pressure. And also the Pantera itself, the body, just has a lot of pressure as well, right? Because it's a 15 attacker. Not only have to deal with that, you also have to deal with the fact that if you destroy it with a card effect, then you have to deal with a lot more Elestrals that come from the deck. So the only really outs to Pantera is either you have to Shield of Achilles it, or use something along the lines of double Zeus or double Demeter to tack over it somehow. Easiest way to do that is probably with Tectoros or Valkyries. I've done it before. It can be done, but it is fairly difficult to physically attack over Pantera. That's why it's such a big threat. But overall, I look at this deck and I see the potential in it. I like it, and I feel like Pokechef can take this deck in the right direction. And if you like what you see, go ahead and give it a try. Give him some tips of your own. He's in the Discord a lot, playing games constantly. So if you want to play against him and his STRATOTERROR deck, go ahead and DM him. But that's all for today. I hope you guys have a good one. Peace out. Fly high.